Welcome back to Walk-Ins. Welcome. I decided to do the intro this time, but why not? Nick's just like, I'm not going to say a word and see what happens. But no, so this is actually an interesting hybrid episode. We actually did a webinar the other day.
Yes, we did.
Nick's waiting for
No, I'm loving this so much that you just chimed in like that. That's awesome. What do we do here?
No, you're gonna,
Hey, look, we are passionate. I'm at least passionate about helping you triple your revenue through digital marketing services and exceptional patient experience. And we can do that through a couple of ways. One is serving people through our webinar system. And the other way we do it is through this podcast. And then the third and most important way to us, to be honest with you, is to do it through our digital marketing services, which if you're listening to this podcast and you need help with your digital marketing, we will help you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But with that, we have a really cool topic that we did on our last webinar a couple days ago, maybe even a day ago. And it's all around ChatGPT. And there's two camps that are listening right now. The ones who are like, I know what that is. I'm curious about it.
I've seen it on TikTok.
Yeah, it's all over the place. And then the other camp that is like, I'm not in that world and I don't pay attention to it. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, and so, you know, when it comes to the digital marketing world, SEO is one of the main services that benefits from ChatGPT or could hurt from it too.
Correct, both.
And so in that webinar, we actually do a full workshop on how to properly utilize it, because ChatGPT is something that showed up in November. And I remember, because I remember, hey, Nick, check this out.
Right.
And like, oh, that's kind of cool.
And then overnight.
Literally, that was a Wednesday. The following Monday, we couldn't access it because so many people were on it. And then they came out with a paid model that we use. But it is game-changing.
It really is.
The content it makes is not perfect. It's perfect in a technical way, but not so much in a human way.
It's too perfect is the problem.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that in this episode that we chopped out of our webinar.
Yeah. But the reality is, at this point, if you keep saying, so I'm going to write content for my website, but I don't have time, or you start to write and you're like, this is overwhelming. How can I write 1,000 words right now on this service? And you don't want to do it. ChatGPT has just fixed that for you, because with one question, it can produce what you need. And then in our workshop, we show how to refine that and make it usable. So it sounds like a magic pill. It kind of is. It's literally the most magic pill thing I've ever seen, ever.
I kind of look at it like, and actually you made this analogy before, it's like what calculators did for math.
Yes.
Is ChatGPT is doing for language and writing.
Yeah. So, it honestly is disrupting the English content writing. No, I guess other languages too, but mostly English and content writing sector. Like, literally 9 months ago, I said, hey, you need a degree in creative writing because we need writers. Now I'm saying you need to figure out how to maximize ChatGPT and make it your own service, because it is thrown out the window of, I need to pay for a bunch of really high-end writing. I don't anymore. Like,
Not really.
Not for what we do. Now, if you're trying, like, this tool has written books for people, published books, made them money, and they didn't write it.
No, they didn't.
It's just mind-blowing. Anyway, and then if you're curious, like, what's a good analogy on, like, we talk about the calculator. I was thinking about another analogy. This is the workshop is. It's like a professional photographer. So ChatGPT is that really nice camera that by itself, when you take a photo, it's okay.
Yeah.
But if you have it in the right hands with the right mindset, it can be a whole lot better. It's exactly what we're going to take you guys through right now on writing content with ChatGPT.
Two things before we kick over. All right. First thing I want to tell you is that this is a tool, not a replacement. It's a tool, right? You should work hand in hand with the work that you're trying to accomplish in your content. All right.
Yeah. This is not your one and done content checkbox.
Correct. And the second thing is, I want you to consider strongly going and watching this episode on YouTube. All right. We have a lot of people that consume our content. They typically do it through podcast, Apple Podcast. Some of you engage on Spotify, and a few of you engage on YouTube. But this is, in my opinion, a very practical visual application of how to use 3 different sets of software that will help you create content on demand. And so what I want you to do, I'm encouraging you, even if it costs us listens or whatever, stop this podcast, go to YouTube and watch this podcast.
Look up Patient Care Marketing Pros and take a look at us there. And it's a complete, like you're saying, it's a complete screen share. And we literally ask somebody who's watching a webinar, hey, tell us about your company. Great. And within 2 minutes, we created content for them and then had it rewritten and approved to be human based and handed it to them as a thanks for telling us.
Yeah, so let this podcast be a practical application podcast for you, something that you can put into action into your business. And with that, we're kicking over right now. Enjoy it.
Content's king. Bill Gates, I questioned this at first, like Bill Gates didn't say it, but in 96, he was talking about content. So we're talking 27 years later, content is still a big deal. Now it's being generated by something, and now we got to make it legitimate. So
let's marry the two here. If content is king, and I'm about to teach you how artificial intelligence can do all of your content for you, is content still king?
Original content.
Original content. That's the key. Thank you for saying that. Original content is going to be king. So what we're going to do is teach you how to use AI to write original content. It's going to be crazy. Y'all have to tell me though. This could be a monumental waste of time unless you're like, yes, show me how to write content. So I want to see a yes in the chat if this is something that you're excited about.
Bring it.
I like it. Let's go.
All right.
All right. This is where we're going to kick off here, right?
Yeah. So real quick, why the duplicate content thing? So we're basically saying at this point, there's no excuses anymore. Like, and we're about to show you in what next slide is, there's no more excuses. You can't copy paste content from other sites. Google still flags a mess out of you. If you go and copy, they're still a college in the sense of they look for plagiarism, and plagiarism will get you blacklisted so quickly. So that is a challenge with AI content, which we're about to show how to fix that. But AI content kind of plagiarizes itself to a certain degree. And it's not, and also AI likes to lie. So you got to be careful. AI has been known to lie and get a little ticky with you. So it's just, we're entering the Terminator world. Terminator. Yeah. So anyway, so here we go. We're going to hop out of this right here. So just to kind of give you, we're going to go into these, we have these links already pulled up in our Chrome, but just to kind of show you, chat.openai.com/chat, it will ask you to create a login. It is free. That's the first thing to note. It is free, and a Google login is what they prefer. There is a paid version that we pay for. It's called Chat Plus or whatever. And the only difference between Chat Plus and free is that you can access it regularly. The free version gets busy. This is actually the fastest growing software to date. I think they had 100 million users in 2 months,
right? Which
is the fastest before that. I think was Instagram. No, I'm sorry, TikTok, and that took like 7 months. So to put that in perspective, this is bigger than TikTok, and it's only been around for 5 months.
I'd be interested to know who's heard of ChatGPT so far. Throw a 1 in chat if you heard of it. Throw a 2 if you haven't. Okay, good. I'm glad you've heard of it because I know it's huge. Let me spend just a second on this, and Michael, then we can move on. I don't want you to do this unless you do it the way we're going to teach you. This is critical.
This will actually hurt you.
Yes.
If you go straight into ChatGPT and copy paste it onto your website, it will work against you.
You're right. I'm both dumb and live under a rock. I'm just kidding. You're awesome. No, but seriously, it will not only cause you to not rank on Google, there's a possibility it could get you kicked off Google. Now, that doesn't make this monumentally dangerous. Okay. This is super important. Like, we're going to show you how to do it where it doesn't harm you.
Yeah.
All right. And we have tested it, and we're even going to prove it in this today. So let's get started with the first thing. This is going to require your participation. Who is bold enough to turn off your camera, turn on your microphone, and let us know a little bit about your business so we can create some content specifically for you? We want to do it right now in real time. Come on. Who's got me? Rick, I want to see your face, dude.
I see a picture.
I see your picture. He's got a killer stash, man.
He does. Mario would be proud.
That's right.
Still.
There he is.
Let's see if we can hear you.
He's still got the killer stash.
Yeah, it's still rocking.
I can't get rid of it now.
It's good to see you, brother.
Good to see you too, Nick.
All right. So, Rick, give us what we want to do is we want to build out 1,000 to 1,250 words of content for one specific service that you offer for your, we'll give it to you after this. We'll send it over to you in an email. All right. So let me know. Give me something that you want us to write content on.
That's a real service that you provide.
Real service you provide.
Succession planning,
Okay.
You're gonna have to
Or-
tell me how to spell it.
I got it.
just like that.
Okay, good.
1,000 words on succession planning
For
small
what's the name of your
businesses.
company?
for Congevity. Is that how you spell Congevity?
Yes, sir.
For Congevity in Birmingham, Alabama.
Boom.
All right, hang
Let's start with that.
on the service called succession planning.
All right. So what it's doing right now is it's pulling information all over the internet, and it is going to write custom content for your page.
All right, so you can see how it's going right now. Notice a couple of things here. So it's actually doing in tokens, so it's doing blocks at a time. This is where Google says it can recognize it.
Right.
So basically what they're saying is ChatGPT writes perfectly, but it writes in blocks. And so if I took this, put it on your website, Google probably won't do much with it because it's going to say, this isn't necessarily real, but it's good to see it, but we're not going to increase your rankings because of it. We might flag you for it. So it looks beautiful. I don't know how that's the other thing. ChatGPT, AI in general, thinks it's 100% true. So it will lie actively. So we always encourage people to actually read through this. So, and it may be worded wrong in some ways, but I can actually, and this is a conversation piece. So if there's something in here I don't like, or if I want a bunch of bullet points instead of long paragraphs, I can tell it to do that. Or I can say, hey, write it in a really cheeky tone, and it'll be really funny as it writes it. And
we've been having some fun with that earlier today.
And so you can see it's still going. It tries really hard not to repeat itself. Sometimes it will. But what we're finding out, this is that starting point. So this is that point of it gets the thing going and it gets us moving, and then we'll move into other tools to kind of spread it out and make it seem more real. But the reality is, this is something like, to be honest, this is disrupting the content service world. So if there were companies that wrote content all day long and got paid a lot of money for it, this is kind of turning it on its head. Because we've even tested it out where we've sent an article to a client to review, and it was completely AI driven, and they approved it. It didn't know any different. So
let's take one more minute though.
Yeah.
And just say, rewrite this content using bullet points.
Yeah. So rewrite content above in bullet points.
And add one more thing before you enter.
Yeah.
All right. Period. Next sentence. Congevity is the name of the business in Birmingham, Alabama. Because right now it's saying for Congevity,
Yeah.
and it doesn't know that you're the business. And let's rewrite that. Congevity is the name of the service provider.
Gotcha. So this is where you have to have the conversation with it. So the more and this is the thing, the more accurate of a request you give, the better the answer it gives you.
Right.
So, and it gets a little confused, right? But anyway, now it's making bullet points of that same content and summing it up. And then I can even say, can you write a sitcom based on the above content?
So for the sake of time, we're going to stop generating this content. Who said something? I heard somebody.
No.
I thought I heard somebody ask a question. Go ahead and stop generating.
Yeah.
And go back up to the top. So here's where we're going to take the content and we're going to see what Google thinks it's looking at. All right. So let's go ahead and copy that. And what we're going to do is we're going to take it and we're going to put it in what's called Originality AI. And what we're looking for is it AI written and is it plagiarized? So we've checked both. Well, you can't see me pointing. We've checked the detect AI and the plagiarism check. Let's go ahead and scan that content.
Now this is a paid tool. So this isn't completely free. You can see it's a credit-based system. It doesn't cost a lot. But what we're looking for right now, it's going to come back with a score. And the score is going to tell us how good or bad it was. Half the time, it's like 50% AI.
Sometimes it's like 100% AI.
Yeah.
It's going to take just a second.
Yeah, we're going to let it scan. But anyway, but you can see what's going on. So it just to, for those watching right now, please go open up a Chat GPT account. Go ahead and start plugging stuff in here. Like, we can have so much fun with it while I'm waiting for it to generate. I can say, write the above content as a sitcom. Oh, it don't want me to do that. That's
too boring.
Sometimes it can, sometimes it won't.
I've had the best one is that I was like, write me an episode of The Office with Devin as the main character. It's pretty funny. So, all right, we're waiting on it.
Yeah, let's get that out of the way.
I can.
There you go.
There you go. So right there on the score, 98% AI. So Google would probably flag this.
How do we fix that?
Yeah, how do
This is huge.
So look at that, 2% original, 98% AI, but no plagiarism. So it from their standpoint, it didn't steal enough, at least, right? Now we go into our another tool. It's called Quillbot. This is not the only paraphrasing tool out there. This is the one that we found that worked best for us. So we're going to paste it in, and then we're going to hit paraphrase. And it's going to take off. Now, here's the part that will take a little bit of time. We're going to see what happens if we copy paste it right back in. But this is where it gives you opportunities to readjust the content itself to make it read the way you want it to read. But the reality is it's still paraphrasing. So there's a high chance, I guarantee you it will be better than the 2%. So if I go back to original AI, start a new scan. I'm going to paste that in like that. I'm going to let it run.
Y'all drop in the chat real quick. One, if this is pretty cool, like it's blowing your mind, or two, like I'm not gonna mess with this.
But what we're saying is you could,
Devin loves it.
Devin loves it too much.
And Rick, I see your face. What are your thoughts so far? We got you unmuted.
Honestly, this can change the game on content creation, because it's one of those things that I can write content, but I don't like doing it.
Exactly.
And I find anything else to do. So if I can have a computer do it for me, I'm all about that. It's not that much different than just having my wife do it for me.
Right.
It's like a virtual assistant, right?
Except one of those gets mad at you. The other one doesn't care.
So,
right.
And so that's the thing here. So look, so what happened in 2-3 minutes? We wrote almost 1,000 words. We recognized it was content AI generated. We went to our paraphrasing tool that paraphrased it in like 3 seconds, put it back in our scan. Now we went from 2% to 91% original. Generally speaking, anything over 90% original, Google
passes.
Yeah, Google won't care.
90% passes.
So something that could have taken you an hour, 2 hours, or you just never going to do it because it's too difficult to get to, we just did it for you. So that's what we're telling you. This is what the reality that we're playing in. Now, you have to be careful though, because if you blindly do this and not read the content it's producing, it's going to be messy. It's not going to be what you want. So you got to take it step by step. But now we're going from days of getting content generated to minutes.
Right.
And there's no complaining involved, because if we don't like it, we just keep telling it what we want it to be.
So I want to say a couple of things about this, because this is an incredible tool for you to go create content today for your website, for your blogs. Go back real quick, Michael, to chat, and just write, create a 120 word Facebook post out of this content.
There you go.
While it's writing your 120 word Facebook content, what I was going to tell you is we are currently, as an agency, we are doing a mix of this. All right. We're testing it, making sure that we're not causing damage to clients. We're making sure that this stuff is, that looks like more than 120 words.
It's not stopping it. There he goes.
It had a lot to say about that topic. Anyway, so we have found over trialing this now for the past couple of months and running it through this system that it is only causing improvements for our clients right now. It is a win. All right. But I also want to add the disclaimers. Keep coming back to these webinars, because we're also changing things as we learn about it. All right. I know this isn't just a webinar pitch. Reach out to us if you don't want to come to the webinars. But what we're trying to do is make sure that we're not steering you down the bad road. This is something that we've been talking about since November, December, but we're just now doing a webinar talking about how to actively integrate this into your platforms, into your social media, into all of this stuff, because we finally found it working the right way.
Yeah. I did a fun one here for Kristen that's on the call. Ron is a huge haiku fan. So I said, can you make a haiku of all this content? And there's your haiku. So is it perfect? No, but it's pretty funny too at the same time. But anyway, so
Kristen says that's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's funny.
And Ron knows
drop that in chat so she can so that she can send it back to Ron. He may be on here too. I don't know. Oh, it's not going to let you paste it.
There he goes.
All right.
That's funny.
All right. So what we've done here real quick is we have shown you how to use ChatGPT effectively by, of course, writing content. The more information that you feed the chat, the better outcomes you're going to have. And I've been using this extensively. I'm just going to let you open up one over here just so you can see how I have this conversation. Open up. You see Lonnie City Medical anywhere in there?
This one?
Yep. So you can see, you just scroll through all that. You can see I'm having a long conversation. I'm trying to write. I wrote an ad for microneedling, and it has taken my time for writing Facebook ads, even though I'm coming up with the offer, I'm defining the audience, I'm putting together the thought process behind it. I'm having it give me variations of calls to action, emojis that I haven't thought to use before in a Facebook ad. It's feeding information back to me as I put it right back into it. And the more you use this platform, the better it gets at your product. Yeah. Right. So
it learns.
Yeah, it learns. And you can see, turn this content into a Facebook ad, use emojis. And now it's adding emojis throughout of it. The reason I bring this up is it is an incredibly powerful tool, but it can get you into trouble if you don't go through the originality.ai and then rephrase it using Quillbot. Don't get caught with don't get caught with your pants down, that kind of thing. Like, exactly. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you are balancing and checking everything so that you don't get punished for this tool.
So what'd you guys think? Was it mind blowing or like, that's all right? What'd y'all think?
Let us know.
Yeah. So, and this thing too, if you have some questions about what you saw and you're like, okay, I like this, but I don't understand it, hit us up. hello@patroncaremarketingpros.com. We are happy to talk to you.
With ChatGPT and other tools like it, we're seeing some crazy stuff happening with it. And we're not going to go into detail here, but just to give you kind of a 10,000 foot view, is it writes computer programs. It writes novels. It writes podcast forums for us sometimes.
It can take care of your grocery list.
I mean, it's kind of wild what it can and can't do. And so what I want to do is just encourage you to go dig into it and play with it. It's 1/9 of our process of doing SEO. So it's not going to replace a digital marketing agency, not for you today. Sorry if you don't like us. Awesome for us if you do. But I do want to encourage you, go back and watch that again. It's going to be relevant until we get on here and tell you it's not relevant anymore. But for now, it's incredibly relevant.
Well, you'll know the relevancy when we had come out with an episode that says you need to start ranking on Bing again.
There you go.
Because that's, if you haven't caught wind of that yet, Bing is the driver behind all this. Ultimately with Microsoft,
right?
And they even released a version on their search engine beta. It went a little sentient and got a little nutty, but actually go look up those videos. A
little combative at that.
Yeah, it's like definitely Terminator style happening at some point. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed that. I hope you learned a little bit from it. And if you need some assistance on it, just hit us up and we're happy to meet with you and kind of figure it out. Not to sell you, but just to show you the benefits of it. Because we love it, because we're learning every day from it, because it's kind of like, how far can we take this tool?
We're pushing the boundaries so that y'all don't have to. We'll just share our knowledge with you. Keep coming back to the podcast, and we'll see you next Wednesday with a new episode.
See ya.